and go ahead and create a new document in Flash. Just go ahead and leave the default one selected. Yeah, just ActionScript 3.0, hit OK. Now there's going to be a bunch of panels in Flash, and they're going to be a bit different than Illustrator. A couple of the important ones. Since you've already done your artwork, we don't really need the color and the swatches for this particular one. So I might close some of those out. Sorry about the noisy computer. This is over here for now. This is timeline is a huge aspect of Flash. That's where you're going to put your frames, your keyframes, like we did in the other animation with stop motion frames. These are where your frames and keyframes are going to be. Here's your artboard. It's blank right now. What I want you to do is we want to check the size of this artboard. So go ahead and right click and click on Document Properties. And change this to 1024. No. Let's go 1024, yeah, by 768. And hit OK. We're going to leave the frame rate at 24 frames. Okay, so you may not be able to see everything on screen at once right now, but that's okay. So this is your artboard like it is in Illustrator, but it's going to be a little bit different. Here's your different tools. Bone tool, drawing tool. Just real quick, when you draw, it draws a shape and puts that fill in it. But when you click on it, it breaks it into more like a bitmap piece of art. And unlike Illustrator, it's a lot harder to grab those things again. You can do it somewhat, but you can also do some kind of weird things with it. So just be wary of that. And it'll take a little bit of learning to get used to this. But this is our board where the animation is going to take place. This is where we're going to put our frames. But we need to import our artwork. So go ahead and open your library panel so that we can see that. I'm going to drag that up here. And this is our library right now. It's an empty library. So there's multiple different ways we can probably do this, but what we're going to try doing first is just copy and paste things. So go to your Illustrator file. Now if you're not using Illustrator, you're doing it in Photoshop, that's going to be a different process, and you're going to want to export each thing separately. I think this is probably only going to apply to one student or so, so I may deal with that separately. Let's go ahead and go to Illustrator, and let's just see what happens when I copy and paste my whole character, like that, my whole character into it. And I'm pasting. And it's chugging. Actually, you went probably the best way to do this. Less time spent in Flash, which is a little bit more difficult interface, and less maybe reassembling. Cancel is going to go in Illustrator, and we're going to create our symbols here. So So I cancel that. I'm going to create symbols based on the different things that I want to move. So his head, and I've already done this layer, so that'll make it easier. His head is one symbol that I want. So I'm going to go to, let's see. Hmm. I can go to my symbols palette. Aha, it was hiding down there. So I'm going to drop it into here. Bring this up a little bit. Okay, well I don't need all these symbols. So I'm going to click, shift click, and then delete those. Okay. Now I'm going to create a new symbol. So I've got my artwork selected. I'm going to click there. And it's going to create a new symbol. I'm going to name it head. Make them names that make sense. And we're going to leave it as a movie clip. Okay? So head, movie clip. Now I'm going to do my neck. Neck. Okay, now I'm going to do the chest. I'm going to make sure I have those selected there. And click on that dot next to it. Chest. Okay, let's do. Ooh, I gotta get rid of that straight point. Let's do my upper right arm. Okay, name that upper right arm. Okay, let's do this lower or right forearm. Okay, so let's get these legs. And we want those pockets within. We'll click on the circle there. There we go. Left leg. Left calf. Ankle. Left. Foot. Left. Okay, that's all I wanted. Foot. Right. Ankle. Right. Right calf. right leg. Okay, that should be all of them. So now, after I've converted those to symbols, let's see what happens. Now see how they break into squares? Because it's treating it as one object. And I can still go in and edit them. It'll give me a little bit different dialogue. So now let's see what happens when I paste. This may paste better, but symbols is something that Flash uses for the individual objects. So let's see. I'm going to paste as I had it. Let's see what happens. Okay. Ooh, that's pretty bad looking there. To investigate that one. Okay, so there's my head. It's got one symbol. There's that arm. There's that arm. There's that hand. Okay. And that library's still empty. That's okay. So what it did is it created all these layers from that paste up here as individual layers, and that's important because they need to be individual layers. Now what we can do is we can create more complex animations. These layers can all be within another animated layer. But since we're just doing a simple animation for this first one, we can take care of this. Now that one looks really funny. Why does it look so funny? It's my upper right arm. I can delete that. The great thing about this is I don't have to try rearranging them all because they're all ready to go. Let's just try pasting it by itself. Huh, so there's something funny about that one that's making it come in strange. Backpack and a group. Okay. Let's see it now. I'll just simplify it a little bit. And that seemed to solve the problem. I just simplified it some. So we'll drag it back down into that area. Okay, so we've got our simple guy. And what we need to do now is create a simple